Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dolynny TV. I'm Tyson Dolynny, ready to take you through some early morning Edmonton Oilers trade news in the fact that it most likely will not be a trade today or tomorrow, and that coming from Mark Spector. We'll get to that in a second. Right now, what I want to caution you before you get too far into the video is I just want to remind you, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It gets you access to all the Oilers news all the time here on Dolynny TV. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to get to, so I'm not going to waste any more time. Mr. Mark Spector bringing in first thing Saturday morning before anybody can even dream of Hockey Night in Canada this morning. We are sitting here talking about Jesse Puljujarvi and what his trade interest is, and you read the tweet here, I quote, "Barring a complete reversal of interest, it appears Jesse Puljujarvi will not be traded and signed by Sunday's 3 p.m. Not on, that's just a autocorrect typo on Twitter. It is what it is, not blaming Spec, it's just seriously. Deadline so he could play in the NHL this season. He will play the year out in Finland." So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. According to our Sportsnet insider for the Edmonton Oilers, it appears as though there will be no trade for Jesse Puljujarvi made by Ken Holland. And of course, as I see this tweet, what I did was I went and kind of trolled the Twitterverse for Puljujärvi and what's kind of going out there. And there's a lot of people floating this whole thing of his value, right? How valuable truly is Jesse Puljujarvi in the trade market at this point of the NHL season? And a lot of people are saying nothing too much, right? A second round pick, maybe this, maybe that. Nothing page jumping. And that's kind of concerning for trying to force a trade at this point of the season, right? Because guys, let me tell you, the last thing Ken Holland would ever want to do in this situation is trade away Jesse Puljujarvi for pennies on the dime. Pretty much, that's maybe how I should say it at this point, not dimes on the dollar. But and then all of a sudden have Jesse Puljujarvi go light it up somewhere else, and us have nothing tangible to say, well, you know what, at least we got fair value. And that's what this, at the end of the day, comes down to for Edmonton Oilers fans and Ken Holland, is the simple fact that we need fair value in any trade with Jesse Puljujarvi. Now, here's the thing. Just because we can't trade Jesse Puljujarvi and have him signed by whatever team we trade him to play in the NHL this year, we can still trade him December 2nd. We can trade his rights. He's an RFA, which means we technically can trade his rights at any time. Same, I'm pretty sure, goes for Yakimov, Slepyshev, all the other guys we have overseas in the similar situation as Jesse Puljujarvi. We can trade those rights for any kind of asset at any time. It's just the problem is the reason you don't see those rights get traded so often mid-season after the signing date is come and gone December 1st is because there is really no guarantee that they're going to sign, right? They could say, oh yeah, I'd love to sign, and then all of a sudden the math changes in the offseason and they don't sign, and you just gave up something just to be in the Oilers situation for the rest of eternity with that player kind of deal, right? So that's maybe why we most likely won't see a trade with Jesse Puljujarvi until the off season at this point. But think about it this way, right? If you're a seller, right? If you're a seller looking to buy the future at the trade deadline, and this is one thing Oilers fans have really harped on, is the trade deadline's equally going to be as important for Jesse Puljujarvi. Because if you're a seller trying to sell off some veteran guys at the deadline, and obviously, you know what, the Oilers are still there in March or in February, I guess, and they're ready to make a push, and they need that one more piece, and you have that piece. Why wouldn't you ask for Jesse Puljujarvi, right? Like, make sense of this with me. Just kind of play the what-if game for a second. If Jesse Puljujarvi is still available on the Edmonton Oilers roster, non-roster, but roster, and you can take him for a veteran player that's going to help the Oilers make the playoff push, you can't use him, but you just literally bought yourself a piece of the future by giving up a guy on an expiring contract. That makes a lot of sense for a seller team at the deadline. Now, obviously, you know what, that's depending on who's in that situation, because Just because Team A's in that situation doesn't mean that'll be that plan. But if Team B's in that situation, maybe that is the plan. And you can kind of take a look at the NHL standings and figure out who you'd be looking at in those kind of situations, right? You think about possibly the Ottawa Senators might be one of those teams. You just never know. The Montreal Canadiens, if they're still on the outside looking in at that point and they decide they want to try and move something around, well, possibly the Montreal Canadiens. Now, the Detroit Red Wings, New Jersey Devils, that's Eastern Conference teams. For the Edmonton Oilers in the West, really, you can't afford to do much. I mean, Minnesota maybe Chicago, definitely not Anaheim, definitely not Los Angeles. Those are the teams around there, but those aren't necessarily the teams that will be there by the end of the year come trade deadline time. So, that said, we've gone 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes now on Jesse Puljujarvi and this whole idea that he won't be traded at the 3 p.m. deadline tomorrow. Well, you know what? Let's get this going here, and let's get over to Jesse Puljujarvi's stats in the Liga. I always feel like I'm going to mess that up and then realize it's way too easy to pronounce. So let's get this, the top 10 scorers in the Liga, because guys, this is where it gets a little bit of a mess, because this is where you can kind of see why interest may have cooled on Jesse Puljujarvi. Now, I haven't followed this story as closely as I should have, so don't if I misspeak, please correct me. Don't be rude about it. Just correct me and make sure I'm informed rather than uninformed. That's all I ask at this point. So let me get this right here. This is the Liga stats that I'm working on. Right there, let me make it a little bit bigger so as I can actually read it. So the Liga stats. Jesse Puljujarvi sits in 4th. Tyler Morley's been above him 90% of the season from every time I've checked. Yes, sure, he's only had 25 points, which is 1 more point than Jesse, but that is, well, 3 less games. So Tyler Morley is doing fantastic things out there in the Liga for Tappara. However, Jesse Puljujarvi, let's get to him. 11 goals, 13 assists, 24 points in 24 games. He's point per game. Now, here's the thing. I'm sorry, but point per game in the Liga, no matter how you cut it, isn't going to sit here and fly off the shelf impress me, because, guys, he's a top 4 pick. He's played in Finland a lot. Like, he should be able to just absolutely go over there and dominate. And he hasn't done that to this degree. And the stats I will always point to, the plus minus is an 18. Okay, but you know what? For 24 points in 24 games, it's simply he's not on the ice for goals against. So there's your stat. And this is a nice breakdown. They actually break that down for you here. He has 5 power play goals, so half his goals have come on the power play. He's played 24 games and had 6 regular strength goals. That's kind of concerning. And he's had 171 shots, which, if you look at this chart, is 41 more shots than anybody on this list. And the next highest shot total has 10 goals. So this is where I say, like I've always harped with this Jesse Puljujarvi mess, is his shooting percentage in the Liga. Guys, if Jesse Puljujarvi was this elite player that everybody was saying he was early on in those Liga days, right, the first 5 games, he would be absolutely raking in the goals, in my opinion. That's what he should be doing over there. And he's got a 6.4 shooting percentage in 18 minutes, 30 seconds time on ice per game, and he has 171 shots for 11 goals. That's why I don't buy the hype that, oh my goodness, he went over to the Liga and found his game, he's good to go. I really don't, because I'm going to bring this up. Just wanted to see if I can find Jesse Puljujarvi's elite prospect stats from back in the day, because this would be something I want to know. You think about Carpet in the Liga back in 2014-15 as an undrafted, 2015-16 when we drafted him. He had 13 goals in 50 games, 28 points in 50 games total. So yeah, sure, you know what, by game 28 he's on pace to eclipse that, but problem is, guys, that just doesn't make sense that all this time removed, he's healthy as far as we know. He should be absolutely dominating, but he's not. He's got 24 points in 24 games, which as you saw on that graphic, let me just bring that back up. That's not even close to the top of the league. Yeah, sure, you know what? He's not in the top three. He's close to top three, but the top in the league is Julius Nanton with 33 points. And guys, are you telling me Jesse Puljujarvi isn't capable of that? Well, he hasn't been able to do it. So there's some questions right there. But guys, I can take you through my doubts on Jesse Puljujarvi all we want, but the end of day results for Jesse is it sounds like we aren't going to be trading him at the deadline 3 p.m. tomorrow. Now that is still subject to change. May I remind you, if it changes, I will happily eat everything I've said, and we'll see what kind of return we get for him. Right now, though, doesn't look like it's going to happen, guys. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. What I want you to do right now is, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If not, let me know in the comments. I'm not a big man on the like or dislike thing. Just let me know in the comments what your thoughts are as this news has broke this morning. Guys, Tyson, Dolynny TV, up on out of here.